Here. All right, everybody. We are live, and I am your instructor, Pierre Hui, aka Mr. P. P is for patience and for passion test. Let me get my TikTok set up. Come on. Here we go. 12, 26. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so what we're going to do today, we are going to do our cumulative review, chapters 1 through 5, because for my students, when we get to chapter 6 is general anatomy and physiology. That's when it get really, really, really technical, detailed, scientific concepts, all that stuff start happening. So I need to make sure that you guys are correct from 1 through 5 before we do so. All right. And for my students, for my actual students, not my online prospective students, my actual students. Um, I'll be sending y'all quizzes. So I got a chapter review quiz and then I got a cumulative quiz. Okay. All right. So let us start from chapter 5 and we're going to work our way back. Actually, no. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. We'll just start from the beginning. Yeah, we'll just start from the beginning. All right. So just a few things to know. We'll start with chapter 1. Chapter 1, history of barbering. You got your ancient cultures. You got hair cutting, hairstyling practice as early as the glacial age. The instruments used back then were flints, oyster shells, bone, and animal sinew or strips of hide used as adornment to tie the hair back. Braiding techniques were employed in many cultures. Okay. Long hair was worn loose to allow evil spirits to exit the individual. Then you got the Egyptians. They are credited with being the first people to cultivate beauty in an extravagant fashion. All right. High-ranking men and women of Egypt had their heads shaved for comfort when wearing wigs and for the prevention of parasitic infections. You got the early work of the barber Meramot was apparently held in particularly high esteem. His image was sculpted for posterity. All right. In some African cultures, hair groomed with intricately carved combs and decorated with beads, clay, colored bands, things like that. Biblical passages, they give insight into the state of the barber in the Middle East. Um, According to Leviticus, Moses commanded those who had recovered from leprosy to shave all their body hair as part of a ritual cleansing. So that's something that's starting to become a central theme. Okay, you cutting all your hair off is some type of ritual cleansing, or to free yourself from evil spirits, stuff like that. That's back in these early cultures. Okay, all right. Who else we got? Tycinius Mina of Sicily, been credited with having brought shaving and barbering services to Rome 296 BC. Average citizen patronized the barber's place as a business, but rich noblemen engaged private tonsors, Tonsor, to take care of their hairdressing and shaving needs. You got the Latin word barber, means beard. Another word derived from Latin, tonsorial, derived from tondere, meaning to shear, means the cutting, clipping, or trimming of hair with shears or a razor. Okay. Barbers are sometimes referred to as tonsorial artists. You get next, talk about customs and traditions. You got early civilizations. They varied from one ethnic group to another depending on the region and social interactions with other groups. General belief among many groups that hair clippings could bewitch an individual. So you got the privilege of haircutting was reserved for the priests, medicine men, or spiritual leader of the tribe in some tribes. All right. According to Greek philosopher and mathematician Pythagoras, hair was the source of the brain's inspiration. Cutting it decreased an individual's intellectual capacity. What are you going to do? Hang on. My screen's trying to get it together. Hang on 1 second. And thank you for joining the live. Okay. Hang on. Let's do it this way. Oh. All right. Let's see. The Irish peasantry believed that if haircuttings were burned or buried with the dead, no evil spirits would haunt the individual. Among some Native American tribes, it was believed that the hair in the body was so linked that anyone possessing a lock of hair or of another might work his will on that individual. Yeah, I've heard that before. What else we got? Later centuries, religion, occupation, politics influenced the length and style of hair, as well as the wearing or not of beads. You got the clergymen of the Middle Ages. They were distinguished by the tonsure, which was a shaved patch on the crown of the head. You got Celtic Roman church leaders. They disagreed on the exact shape of the tonsure. Then you have the Catholic Church. Not until 1972 that they finally abolished the practice of tonsure. And then you got rulers and monarchs generally became trendsetters by virtue of their position and power in society. All right. Also, the beard and shaving, the razor being such a definitive tool for barbering, shaving is, as well as caring for the beard in general, deserves another look too. So certain excavations of early stone razors or scrapers from the upper Paleolithic period, which is 40,000 to 10,000 BC, indicate that early man may have used these tools for hair removal as well as for the skinning of animals. 3000 BC in Mesopotamians, they were shaving with obsidian blades, and by 2800 BC, the Sumerians were also clean shaven. Likewise, Greek men of 1000 BC are seen in works of art visiting their local barber for shaving services. I'm sorry. All right. So basically, the pattern here is just, throughout history, people relate haircuts or hairdos or hairstyles, all of the different practices. They have some meaning to their culture as far as like religious purposes, and status purposes. So it says a lot if you have your hair a certain way. In a bunch of these cultures, if you have your hair a certain way, it says something about your status within that society. All right. Okay. Got barber surgeons. For centuries, dentistry was performed only by barbers, and for more than 1,000 years, they was known as barber surgeons because the barbers was doing the same thing. They had the cutting tool. So anything that involved cutting, as in dentistry or surgery or barbering services, things like that, they had the cutting tools for all of those. So a bunch of barbers used to be known as barber surgeons way back when. So, 1096 AD, about 1100s, they had created a guild of surgeons specialized in the study of medicine. By the middle of the 13th century, these barber companies had also founded the School of St. Cosmos and St. Domain in Paris to instruct barbers as well in the practice of surgery. Okay, barber pole. Similar to barber pole, evolved from the technical procedures of bloodletting performed by the barber surgeons. The pole is thought to symbolize the staff that the patient would hold tightly in order for the veins in the arm to snap during bloodletting. The bottom end cap of modern barber poles represents the basin that was used as a vessel to catch the blood. The white stripes stand for the bandages that were used to stop the bleeding and were hung on the staff to dry. And the stained bandages would then twist around the pole in the breeze, forming a red and white pattern. Another interpretation: colors of the barber pole is that red represented the blood, blue the veins, and white the bandages. Later, when the company of barber surgeons was formed in England, barbers were required to use blue and white poles and surgeons red and white poles to distinguish the two, because by that time it had branched off. You got surgeons over here, you got barbers over here, and they weren't performing the same services. Hey, welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. Thank you for joining. Okay. Next, you have modern unions. You got the Associated Master Barbers and Beauticians of America, which was formed in 1941. In 1925, its members had established a National Educational Council with the goal of standardizing and upgrading barber training. You also have many of today's state barber boards. They meet up twice a year as members of the National Association of Barber Boards of America. They established the month of September, which is my birthday month. Happy birthday to me. I don't have a Cash App no more, so I guess you can. I got a Venmo, so y'all can send me money if you want to. I'm just saying. That is National Barber Month to recognize the contributions of barbers to society. According to their website, the organization's mission statement and objectives are as follows. They represent over 300,000 barbers. The tonsorial arts have been a tradition, time-honored tradition of the neighbor barbershop. Um, Promote the exchange of information between state barber boards, develop standards and procedures for examining barbers, develop standards for licensing and policy. And yeah, standards for licensing and policies of the barber industry, developing curriculum for educating barbers, promoting continuous education, and developing promoting procedures for ensuring that the consumer is informed and protected. Okay. All right. So that's the history of barbering. Chapter 2, you have life skills. All right. A lot of this stuff's pretty simple. Let's start here. Okay, life skills, day to day actions and skills help you to be a productive and well rounded person. Some of the most important are being helpful, caring to others, making good friends, feeling good about yourself, having a sense of humor, maintaining a cooperative attitude. That is huge. Approaching work with a strong sense of responsibility, being consistent in your work, adapting successfully to different situations, sticking to a goal, seeing the job through to completion, mastering techniques to become more organized, developing sound decision making skills. All right. Action steps for success: building self esteem, visualizing success, building on your strengths, being kind to yourself, staying true to yourself, practicing new behaviors, keep your personal life separate from your work, please. Keep your energy up, respect others, stay productive. All right. By staying productive, we got a few in within there. Hey, Jazzy, welcome. Yeah, Jazzy, my girl, what's up? Um, so staying productive, you got three main points. Number one, procrastination, putting off until tomorrow what you can do today. Fuck that shit. Do what you need to do now. Now is a better time than any. Okay. Perfectionism. Do not be crippled by perfection. It is an unhealthy compulsion to do things perfectly. All right. Success is not defined as doing everything perfectly. As long as you learn from your mistakes, you will be successful. In fact, someone who never makes a mistake may not be taking the necessary risk for growth and improvement. Listen, let me be a main testament to that. I don't mind failing. Okay. All right. I don't mind failing. Matter of fact, I enjoy failing simply because you can learn a lot. You learn a lot more from your failures than you do your successes. Successes will make you procrastinate. Your failures will make you get better. Period. All right. Next, having a game plan, conscious act of planning your life instead of just letting things happen. While an overall game plan is usually organized into large blocks of time, it is just as important to set daily, monthly, and yearly goals. Where do you want to be in your career 5 years from now? What do you have to do this week, this month, and this year to move closer to that goal? All right. Next, things about motivation, being motivated, self-management, and your creative capability. So all of that entails being positive, looking around for creative inspiration, improving your vocabulary. You definitely do if you want to be able to take this down. You want to be able to take this test and understand what we talking about when you take the exam and some of the terminology. You have to improve your vocabulary. Because the thing is, if you're taking a question and you don't know what the concept is, or you don't know what the word is, you don't understand the concept. But the thing may be, you may understand the concept, just don't know the terminology. I'll give you an example. So say they ask you a question about pseudofolliculitis, right? Now, pseudofolliculitis sound like this big old scientific word. All it is razor bumps. That's it. So if you're taking a question and they ask you about pseudofolliculitis, and then you got 4 answers to choose from, just you knowing what pseudofolliculitis is, what the term means you can make an educated guess for that question. And a lot of scientific concepts is like that. So improving your vocabulary is very, very, very important. All right. And another thing, surrounding yourself with others who share your passion. In today's hectic and pressured world, many talented people find that they are more creative in an environment. Environment is the key word. Get to an environment where people do what you do. It makes everything so much easier. All right. This is where the value of a strong team comes into play. All right. What else we got in here? Mission setting. Mission statements, which establishes the purposes and values for which an individual or institution lives and works by. You have goal setting, identification of long-term and short-term goals. When you know what you want, you can draw a circle around your destination and chart the best course to get there, aka reverse engineer. All right. Thank you for joining the live, y'all. All right. Other things to be mindful of when you are dealing with life skills: demonstrating time management, learning to prioritize, ordering tasks on your to-do list from most important to least important, or vice versa. Um, Making sure it works for you. All right. If you're a person who needs a fair amount of flexibility, schedule some blocks of unstructured time. Having a notepad, organizer, tablet, any other digital application accessible at all times. Making daily, weekly, and monthly schedules that show exam time, study sessions, and any other regular commitments. I like that one a lot. I tend to try to get on a level playing field with my students about that, so we can do that type of thing, because I tend to structure quizzes that way. All right. Um, what else we got? Understanding the value of to-do lists for the day and the week. Yeah. So typically, what I like to do at the beginning, at the end of my day, I will set my to-do list for the next day. If it's whatever I do, important to less important. So whatever important things it is that I need to do, I put it on the list, and I put it at number one on the list. I do it the night before, so when I wake up, I already know what I need to do, and I'm well rested, and I'm ready, and I have the energy that I need to get to the task and figure out how I need to do the task and what time frame that I need those for. All right. Let's see what else. Professional ethics, moral principles by which we live and work, self-care, professional ethics embody the following qualities: self-care, being helpful to others. It is essential to take care of yourself. I can't stress that enough. Integrity, maintain your integrity by aligning your behavior and actions to your values. And last but not least, y'all, it makes a big difference: developing a positive personality and attitude. All right, you gotta have it. Gotta have it in this business. So that's diplomacy. Being assertive is good because it helps people understand your position. However, short step from being assertive to being aggressive. So take your attitude temperature to see how well you practice the art of diplomacy, which is also known as being tactful. It's the ability to deliver truthful, even sometimes critical or difficult messages in a kind way. Next, having a pleasing tone of voice. It's a personality trait, but if your natural voice is harsh or if you need to mumble, you can consciously improve by speaking more softly or more clearly. I used to be a mumbler. You couldn't hear me at all. Okay. I would talk like maybe 2 decibels. And it's like, man, what is you saying? Talk up, talk clearly so I can hear you. All right. Emotional stability, learning how to handle a confrontation and how to share your feelings in a professional manner. Sensitivity, being sensitive means being compassionate and responsive to other people. Values and goals, they guide our behavior and they give us directions. Receptivity, being interested in other people and responsive to their opinions, feelings, and ideas. Receptivity involves taking the time to really listen to others. Also, be open-minded and willing to work with all personality types. All right. And last, you have effective communication skills. You have effective communication skills. Commit to practicing effective communication through active listening, nonverbal, and verbal skills. Okay. All right. So that's chapter 2. Chapter 3, we're going to go to professional image. It is many factors that help create a professional image. However, for better or worse, here we go. Okay. However, for better or worse, how a person looks is often the first clue to determining if that person has what it takes to do the job. Another thing too, when they talk about how a person looks, it's not just the clothes, it's not just the physical things that you see on the person. Also, taking a look at their face. And what I mean is their facial expressions. I mean, do they walk in? Do it look like they tired? Do it look like they already had a bad morning? Do they look like they don't want to be here? Like just looking at somebody's face and mannerisms, that's another thing of professional image too. I ain't saying, you got to be smiling all the time, but most people are very, very perceptive. Your facial expression can say just as much as everything else. All right. Okay. Applying healthful habits. What are the habits? Hygiene, rest and relaxation, nutrition, exercise, stress management. All right. All of those things play a vital role. Okay. Next, personal grooming. process of caring for parts of the body and maintaining an overall polished look. How you dress and how you take care of your hair, skin, and nails reflect your personal grooming habits. That's very true, especially in our profession. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Your professional image is the impression that you project through both your outward appearance and your conduct, in addition, and your conduct. Okay. In the workplace, your clothes must be pressed and clean, not simply free of the dirt that you can see, but stain free and objective that is sometimes difficult to achieve in a barbershop environment. You damn right. It's very difficult to achieve that. But it is something to be said for trying at all times. All right. Let's see. Hair maintenance. Complement your professional wardrobe with an up to date hairstyle. It is important to keep your haircut and style fresh. To accomplish this, schedule time for your own hair appointment and possibly barter with other barbers for hair care services. Yeah, I tend to suffer from this one because a lot of times my students swear they're going to cut my hair and then they don't cut my damn hair. I digress. Skincare and makeup, just like a smile, proper skincare can help promote a professional image. Having and maintaining healthy skin is an ongoing process. Yes, it is. Facts, 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 facts. Nail care. Barbering professionals have the privilege of using their hands to make a living, but often neglect their own care. Manicures are a great way to relax hands and thoroughly clean nails. One thing I say about that, thank you for joining the live. One thing I can say about that, for my male barbers, keep your nails trimmed. Keep your nails trimmed because we use these in a certain way where it can be uncomfortable sometimes if we're grabbing the way that we maneuver our client's head while we're applying services. Keep your nails trimmed. Okay. All right. Ergonomics. This another big one. Ergonomics, posture, body movement, raising your arms a certain way or bending over at the shampoo bowl, repetitive motions. They can create physical stress in the hand, wrist, arm, shoulder, and lower back areas, all of those. When such stresses occur, physical or movement therapies may be required to maintain proper body alignment. What you don't want to have is later on in your career that you got to have all these different surgeries, okay? So focusing on ergonomics now is something that's just going to help you later. And thinking about it at all times is just it can't hurt at all. It's only going to help you. All right. Body movement, your muscles, your bones, they work together as a musculoskeletal system. Ergonomics is the science of designing the workplace as well as its equipment and tools to make specific body movements more comfortable, efficient, and safe. For example, hydraulic chair can be raised or lowered to accommodate barbers of different heights, allowing each barber to service clients without bending over too far. Certain shears are designed to eliminate hand fatigue when cutting hair because repetitive movements are of particular concern. Each year, hundreds of barbering professionals report musculoskeletal disorders, including carpal tunnel syndrome, which is a wrist injury, and back injuries. Barbers may have to stand or sit all day and perform repetitive movements, which makes them susceptible to problems of the hands, wrists, shoulders, necks, back, feet, and legs. All right. So, what is the key to avoiding these problems? Is preventative maintenance. All right. And awareness of your posture and movements, coupled with good work habits, proper tools, and equipment, will enhance your health and comfort. All right. Effective human relation skills, communication skills. What are human relations? They describe the interactions and relationships between two or more people. Effective human relation skills help you build rapport with clients and coworkers. Rapport involves establishing a close and empathetic relationship that fosters agreement and harmony between individuals. Your professional attitude expressed through your self-esteem, your confidence, and the respect that you show others. Good habits and practices acquired during your education lay the foundation for a successful career in barbering. Next, let's talk a little bit about communication skills. Effective communication is the act of successfully sharing information between two people so that the information is understood. In the shop, effective communication requires sending and receiving messages in order to establish a relationship with the client. The following steps can be used to help you determine your client service expectations. Number one, organizing your thoughts. Two, being clear and clarifying. Three, repeating anything that needs to be repeated, as far as like questions. Once you have an understanding of the client's definition of over the ears or any other description used, repeat to the client your interpretation of what you think that they told you. All right, especially if they're describing how they want their haircut. All right, this communication step will provide you with further clarification and the opportunity to make needed changes, in short, to reach an understanding of the client's expectations. Okay, as far as clarifying, that this step is clarifying what the client is telling you in the scenario. Let's say the client's response to the question is that he wants his hair over the ears. This answer still does not provide you with the information you need to proceed with the haircut. Why? Because you now have to clarify what the client means by over the ears. So here's where all of that is important. You have a lot of clients that come in now, they will describe the wrong thing to you, and they don't know that their description is wrong. Here's what I mean. If somebody comes in and they say they want a high taper, okay, a taper is in a certain section, and a taper refers to the amount of blending, which is a minimal amount of blending in a certain section on the head. So if somebody talking about they want a high taper, they are talking about a fade of some sort. Okay. What's up, Toot? How you doing? Thanks for joining the live. If somebody comes in and they say, I want a high ball fade, and then they point here, that's not a high ball fade. High ball fade is going up here somewhere. Okay. A high ball fade is very similar to a high and tight, by the way. If somebody says that, I'm just trying to think of one, a shadow fade. No, we didn't even do that one. Somebody says that they want a burst fade. Okay. A burst fade is strictly going very tightly in a circle around the ear. So a burst fade would be different from a mohawk with a V in the back. So you can't do both, right? Well, you have to be able to communicate that with your client and say, all right, look, what you're looking for is this. Are you sure this is what you want? This is what we mean by clarification. And a lot of times that clarification happens at the chair. It happens during the consultation. And a lot of times I beg people to be like, hey, just show me a picture. Let me see a picture of what you're talking about. Because sometimes people's idea of a, like I'll give you prime example. A temp fade all the way around. Okay, a temp fade is a fade that is happening around the temple areas. It is not a temp fade all the way around. That is a regular fade. Basically, you have clients that do that for different reasons. Some of them just don't know. Some of them are trying to get out of paying you your money. It is what it is. That's why I clarify, and then I clarify, and then I re-clarify to be like, okay, this is exactly what you want. Or if parents send their kids in there, the parents wanted a certain way, the kid wanted a different way. The kid gonna try to explain it to you, so you cut it that the way they want it, versus the parents sent their kid in there, and you know their parent wants it a very specific way. That counts for clarification too. All right. Which falls under effective communication. Okay, finally, frequent form communication that can easily be misunderstood yet has serious impact upon your business is online communication, aka social media. Establishing a professional online image is an essential image building attribute, and not one to be taken lightly, for real. Social media websites, including photo sharing sites, quickly diminish a person's reputation if media etiquette is neglected. So, do manage your personal pages and walls. Do use social media to communicate with peers and clients, and do post helpful content like we are doing now. Okay. How y'all doing? Welcome to the live. Do not, if you can help it, use profane language. I can do that for the most part, but sometimes you just gotta say what you gotta say to get your point across. All right. Don't participate in or entertain arguments online. If you can do it, if you can establish discipline, if you can maintain discipline, don't fall for the rage bait. It is out here everywhere, especially online. They do not play. All right. Don't post nude or embarrassing photographs, of course, and do not forward spam. And do not forward spam. All right. Okay. So we will take a break there. And we're going to jump back in chapter 4 and 5, infection control and implements, tools, and equipment. Okay. I will be back, y'all.